A very warm welcome to each of you here this morning in the chapel, and also to those who may be watching via the webcast. We are here today for a farewell ceremony for the life of Christine Davies, to remember her and to celebrate her life. My name is Catherine and I am a funeral celebrant, and I am not here to preach to you or to tell you what Christine means to you. Your presence in her life and here today is evident of that. Our hearts reach out to you in particular, her close family and friends. Christine is a much-loved mum, a nan, a great nan, a bonus mum, and a friend to many. And the time that the family have given to me in this, their hardest of times, I have formed a portrait of a lady who knew much. She loved much, and for whom life often came before laments. I know that she is a mom, a nan, and she has 12 grandchildren, 5 great-grandchildren. Didn't quite get to the magic number that Louise would have liked, I know. She is a family guide, and I know that now our world is emptier for her passing. As we know, grief has a way of reminding us all of the fragility and sacredness of life. But in this process of grief, our words and our actions towards each other can be a great source of comfort and support. I'd like to thank Louise because she's written all of this out, so I've just popped it in here. They are Louise's words, and I know your family's thoughts and memories of Christine. Barry, her best friend and soulmate, spent many happy years together. They did everything together, like two souls entwined. Holidays at the caravan in Threpwood and Cheadle. We all had a van. Mum, Nan, Auntie Veronica. All weekends were spent together as the kids grew up. Mum was Bazzy's wicker duck. Always put everyone before herself. She was strong-willed, bubbly, full of life and laughter, kind and caring. She cared for Nan and Grandad in their last days. Mum's mum was her world, often going for days out, holidays and shopping. The grandkids could never do wrong. She idolised and adored each of them. The door was always open to anyone, no matter what the time or the day. She has always been there for the kids, opening her home to them when times have been hard. Jamie, Mum looked after him as her own son. She took him in when he had nowhere to go, loved him unconditionally, and would do anything for him. Shane and Annalise have moved in with Mum numerous times, both with Peyton and Lacey. Her home was their home, and she enjoyed having them there. Her cooking and baking, which she loved, and she loved doing crafts of any kind. She ran the craft club at Christchurch Church Hall with Jean, Dottie, and many others. Mum was always the life of the party. She loved her animals. She treated Molly as her little girl. Nothing would be too much for Molly. After her transplant, Mum always said she saw life through different eyes, as though she had been given a new life to live. 24 years more. Without her transplant, she wouldn't have seen the grandchildren grow. Mum always was busy helping anyone she could. She worked for Home Start, helping struggling families, and made many, many friends there. Gavin is the baby out of all of us, and very much the favourite. I don't know if Gavin knows that. When Gavin signed up to the army, Mum was so proud. Richard and Nikki were adopted by a lovely couple. Mum gave them the greatest gift that anyone could give, although she never forgave herself for letting them go. Mum was a single parent to Gavin and I for a long time. We didn't go without and was always surrounded by love. She gave the most amazing hugs, where she would squeeze us until you could feel it in your bones. When she smiled, her whole face lit up. She just beamed and her eyes twinkled. Mum didn't like compliments, but Mum needed to be needed. I'd now like us to listen to a piece of music that I know that your mum loved by Emily Sandé, Abide With Me. May I ask you, please, if you're able to, could you stand for the Lord's Prayer and the committal? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Christine, we feel privileged that you lived. We grieve that you are no longer with us, but we know that you will live on in the hearts, lives and memories of those who knew and loved you. We took delight in your friendship and the good times we shared. We sorrowed at the difficulties that you faced. We remember with gratitude your nature and all your qualities, and with respect we bid you farewell. We have been remembering with affection and gratitude the life of Christine, and recalling what a loving, compassionate and beautiful lady she has been. We rejoice that she lived. You treasure that you shared in her life. You cherish your memories of her, and with love we leave her in peace. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose on earth, a time to die and a time to be born. Here in this last act, in sorrow but without fear, in love and appreciation, we commit Christine's body to its natural end. Christine was loved in the yesterday. She is loved in the today. She will always be loved in the tomorrow, for her life will always matter. She will be loved always, and may she rest in eternal peace. Amen. Thank you. Would you just like to take your seats for a moment? I'd like to just mention about the music for today, especially chosen. I know it wasn't an easy task. So Fields of Gold was one of her favourites. Abide With Me is meaningful between Christine and her mum. And the exit music is important between Christine and her dad. And not forgetting Christine's crush on the singer. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for supporting each other. It's so important to have family and friends around us as we go through the saddest of times. If you would like to make donations in memory of Christine, then monies will be sent to the kidney unit at the Royal Stoke. As we leave here today and return to our lives, I know that Christine will never be far from your thoughts, because of course she has been such a significant lady to you. She's played such an important role to each and every one of you. And I know that from Louise, Liz and Shane, that she would want you to live. I mean, really live, like she did at 100 miles an hour when she was well, but also to appreciate all that you have. Take the time to smell the lavender, to see the uniqueness of the roses. Take that 1.5 hour drive, Shane, for the smallest pot of ice cream. But mostly, love unconditionally, fully and deeply, just like she did. I'd like to just share this with you. You held us close when times were tough, been by our side when life got rough, praised the gains, embraced the flaws, backed each side despite the cause, forever constant, always there, sometimes firm, but always there. You are the rock, our inspiration. You gave our lives its strongest foundation. Forever loving, patient and kind. You listened with an open mind. You are the sun that brings us light, the star that always shines so bright. You are the birds high in the sky, the white clouds that drift by. You will always be here, never gone. We know what you would say. Smile, be strong, love, and go on. Thank you all for being here this morning. This concludes the service for Christine, and I will leave it for her last words. Good night and God bless.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling. From glen to glen and down the mountainside, the summer's gone. But